Hello, Julie here, and thank you to all of my subscribers, both new and ones that have been with me for a while. I love that you have subscribed to my channel and I appreciate it very much. Today I am going to make a card for the challenge over at Make the Card Challenge. This is challenge number 61 and there is a colour palette. You can see I have used pastel shades of those colours on my card. I'm going to use this background stamp by Down Under Scrapbooking and stamp onto a panel that I'm going to use for the front of my card. This card is going to be 5 1/4 inches square, and this panel, I haven't trimmed it down to size yet, but I will trim it later on. So first of all, I'm going to stamp and heat emboss with white embossing powder. I'll use my little embossing buddy powder puff and stamp with the Versamark clear embossing ink, then emboss with Wow superfine white, well, it's actually called bright white, opaque bright white superfine embossing powder. I'm glad I used my stamping platform because I had to actually stamp this twice to get a good impression. Now I'm going to use a blending brush and apply two different inks. One is a distress ink, so I'm using saltwater taffy distress oxide and dried marigold in distress ink. And I'm just applying these randomly, no rhyme or reason, just here and there, and then I will blend the two colours together. As I said earlier, I'm using like muted down or pastel shades of the colours in the colour requirements because I prefer that look, especially with this white all over background. I think it could be a bit heavy if I go for too dark a colour. So I'm going to apply those, and they do blend beautifully even though one's an oxide and one is a distress ink. The oxide is a lot wetter, should I say, and yeah, so anyway, I blend those two together and go from there. Once I'm happy with the blend, I'm going to take a tissue and just wipe over the whole card front so that I am going to remove any of the ink that is laying on top of that white embossing. Because it is heat embossed, it is sort of like a resist, and the colour won't stick to it. My card base is 5 1/4 inches square, and so I'm going to trim this paper down to 4 3/4 inches square. I'm also then going to use that green cardstock out of my stash and trim that down so that it's 5 inches square. So I will layer these on the top of my card base. So I'll have the white card base and then a layer of green and then our stamped and heat embossed panel. So if you've been watching my videos for any amount of time, you would know that I practically ink everything. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to use my Versacolor black ink cube and ink around the heat embossed panel and the green panel. Then I'll use double-sided tape to attach those layers to the front of my card base. You'll see on the back of that white panel that the different colours of ink that I tried out to see which colours I wanted to use. Just a bit of a trial and error. I should put samples or on the actual ink pad so that I don't have to do this each time, but oh well, who's got time, eh? I did find that where I had put that ink on the back of that white panel, my double-sided tape didn't really want to stick to it, so I ended up adding some liquid glue just to make sure that that stayed in place. The sentiment on this card is happy birthday. I have used a die, I'm not sure of the brand, I haven't kept that information. So I've cut it 4 times from cardstock, and I'm just going to use my art glitter glue and attach those layers on top of each other, so I've got a nice thick sentiment. I am using my reverse tweezers to do this. I find these tweezers just absolutely fantastic for this sort of thing. I have an offcut of that green that I used behind my embossed panel, and it is 5 inches long, so it was 1 1/4 by 5 inches, so I thought, well, that's a good size. So I've just inked around the edge of that and then attached that to the front panel of my card using liquid glue. And then I attach my sentiment to the right hand side of that green panel. To embellish my card, I don't want too much embellishment on this because I want the background to be the star of the show. So I'm using this honeybee die. It's called Lovely Layers Heart Vine, and I have cut that in a slightly darker green, and I'm going to attach that to the left hand side of the card. Now I'm going to use my hot glue gun to attach 3 flowers. I didn't make these flowers. Generally I make my own embellishments, but I have got a big box full of flowers that I've purchased over the years, so I thought it was time to start using them. This bigger one comes from Portercraft, and there's 6 in a pack, paper chrysanthemums, medium size, and the 2 little white ones come from Uniquely Creative in the well, it doesn't say what range they're from or anything like that, so they're just a mixture of little pink, white and one mauve flower in the pack. So yes, I just attached 3 flowers to the front over the top of that leaf die that I'd added previously. So I decided to put a little verse inside the card. I probably should have done this before I added those flowers, and I could have used my stamping platform to do it. But because of the bulk of those flowers, it won't fit in the stamping platform. So I'm going to have to use an acrylic block, and I'm using this Happy Birthday to You scrapbook.com stamp, clear stamp, and I'm going to stamp that on the inside using my Versafine Onyx black ink. So that's my card for today. I will put links in the description box to the challenge over at Make the Card Challenge. This is number 61. And I will also put links in the description box for all the products that I've used. If you want to check that out, have a look at them. You might be able to find something in your stash that does the same trick. So thank you for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can join me for my next video. Bye.